The film opens with a young man named Jacob. He lives with his father, who owns a clothing store. One day, a customer, Teresa, comes to order clothes. Unexpectedly, the woman enters Jacob's room, and they end up making out. Unfortunately, Jacob's father suddenly arrives and sees them. Since then, he has been severely scolded and considered a useless child. He should have been helping his father manage the store, but instead he's busy having fun with customers. Jacob previously worked as a teacher, but due to his own actions, he was fired and left unemployed. His father is deeply disappointed with Jacob, who hasn't changed at all. His father wants Jacob to be independent, so he asks him to take care of his grandfather's inherited garden, located far away. The garden has been there for a long time, but it has been neglected for a long time, and parts of the house there have fallen into disrepair and need renovation. The place holds a lot of his grandfather's history. Jacob also finds his grandfather's diary, which contains instructions on how to properly care for a garden. The next day, Jacob gradually begins renovating the house. But that day, a dog suddenly chased him. Jacob was frightened and climbed a tree to escape. Shortly afterward, a young girl named Helena appeared. She calmly calmed the dog, even though the animal wasn't hers. Helena lived in the village with her elderly mother. Unfortunately, she was often treated harshly by her mother, who considered her a rebellious child, even though Helena was actually kind-hearted. The next day, Jacob was surprised again by the presence of a flock of sheep in his garden. It turned out they belonged to a shepherd who was just passing through. He thought the garden was empty and was happy to know that someone was taking care of it. He hoped Jacob would be patient and diligent in caring for the land his grandfather had left him. Some time later, Helena came with her mother to Jacob's house. Her mother wanted to know who the man her daughter had met was. She considered Helena unreliable, only playing around, much like Jacob. However, despite this, Helena was actually an innocent and honest girl. One day, Jacob tried to remove a wasp nest from the side of the house. But suddenly, Teresa came to see him. They both ran into the house to avoid being stung, and they ended up being intimate again. But then, Jacob remembered that he wanted to change. He took Teresa to the bus stop and asked her to come back. A few days later, Jacob's father came to visit. He was amazed that his son had survived this long. They even shaved their heads together. Afterward, they went to a restaurant and ate together. There, Jacob's father tried to entertain Jacob with singing and dancing, but because he thought they were disturbing the other diners, they were eventually kicked out. Even so, the moment was funny and enjoyable. Besides repairing his relationship with his father, Jacob also grew closer to Helena. They spent time together, picking apples, baking, and doing many things together. However, the peace was disturbed when one day Teresa arrived with her husband and children. Her husband demanded to know if Teresa had ever been in a relationship with Jacob. Teresa denied it and claimed they were just friends, but Jacob chose to be honest about their romantic relationship. Hearing this, Teresa's husband became angry, and a commotion ensued. In fact, he did this on purpose to truly end his relationship with Teresa, as he didn't want to continue the wrong relationship. Unfortunately, Helena overheard this confession. She was disappointed and left Jacob. Since then, Helena has never seen him again. Jacob decided to visit Helena's house and found her sick. Her mother blamed Jacob for all of this. Apparently, Helena was jealous, as she had already fallen for Jacob. For 3 days, Helena just daydreamed and refused to eat or drink. Jacob then asked permission to care for Helena at his home. Slowly, thanks to Jacob's perseverance, Helena recovered and smiled again. Shortly afterward, Jacob's father came to visit. He saw Helena and felt she would be a suitable companion for his son. Although Helena wasn't yet a good cook, his father was confident that Jacob could be a responsible man, especially with Helena, as they complemented each other. The film finally ended.